Hey, yo, Richmond, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit, but keep moving forward. This is the Italian Stallion. Say the one and leave Philly and come to RVA. I always check out my man, Mike King Biz, on ESPN, 5-7 a.m. The champ of business talk radio. The man.
Mike King Biz, ESPN Richmond, the champ of business talk radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the Mike, the premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. Appreciate you being here with us. So you can follow me on all social platforms at hashtag on the Mike with Mike, RVA, as well as Mike King Biz. This is the Poplar Springs Hour, but it's not Poplar Springs today. Hey, we left the light on and some friends of the family came back. We got a good friend from First Home Care. Welcome back to the programs, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so we have Lori and Ruth are back again. They were back a while ago, and we're talking about its adoption. It is foster care, all those things, as well as you guys informed me, which I didn't know, that November is it adoption month?
Yes, it will be.
Okay.
November is adoption month, and this month is Kinship month. So we are celebrating kin families.
Okay, Lori. Is kin families like kinfolk? No.
Yes, kin family, kinfolk, family, aunties, uncles, grandmas, mentor.
Okay, and what are we
Coach.
calling it now?
Kinship
Kinship.
care.
Okay, I like that. It's okay. All righty, ladies, tell us who you guys are and what you do, and then we're going to dive into the good stuff that you got going on.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate it. So I am Lori Fagan. I am the Director of Business Development with First Home Care, which is a therapeutic foster care agency. And we are located actually across the state of Virginia. We have an office right there in Richmond, Tidewater, Roanoke, and Alexandria. So we take care of children who are coming into care from the local Department of Social Services here in Virginia. We put them in nice foster homes and we help them get through whatever they need to get through. We help the families get through whatever they need to get through. So the families are so the kiddos can kind of come back home or placed with their kin or adopted.
All righty, Ruth. So now it comes back to me. I remember when I asked you before how you got into this.
Yes.
And you know, because I always ask people, and you said you had seen how it's not supposed to be.
Exactly.
I remember the stuff, but all of a sudden I'm like, that's what she told me. All righty, so let folks know how the part that you play in this.
Okay, so I am currently the Director of Creative Operations, which means that I can actually delve into absolutely everything. I am responsible for training for staff, for foster parents. I'm responsible for ensuring that we recruit foster families, that we train them and have them ready for every kid that comes through our doors. So, and I play around with Lori a lot in doing business development. Where's our next place that we will plant our feet and grow our business?
One of the things that we had talked about before was you don't have to be perfect to be the foster parent. And Lori, that's what we had talked about before. Sometimes people think, hey, my family's kind of crazy. And everybody thinks their family's crazy. But you're saying you don't have to be a specific type to be a foster parent.
That is correct. We welcome all types of families into the First Home Care family when they want to become a foster parent. We train all of our families to be able to handle the types of things they might see when a child comes placed with them with their mental and behavioral needs. We are a trauma-informed agency, so we really focus on training our foster parents to be trauma-informed. So it kind of helps bring down the crazy, I guess you could say, that every family has. No one's perfect. It's what you could bring out from your family and integrate that with the child that comes in that makes it so important.
So Lori, what exactly is a trauma-informed? What exactly is that?
So it's an agency, or trauma-informed is more of a way of thinking. And Ruth, please pop in here because you are the trauma-informed guru. And it's just about kind of a way of thinking, of not thinking like, man, Ruth, we
It's
help
just-
you with the statement,
no problem.
what happened to you. You want to ask what
Right.
happened to you with the
It's-
child, understanding that their experiences, their past experience created different effects in their life. It created trauma, and then they react to certain things that we feel, that some people may feel are a not appropriate response to something, but it
Mhm.
actually is for them because it's triggering a past event. Ruth, you want to kind of piggyback on that?
Yeah, it actually starts with, folks say, what is wrong with you? And trauma informed would like to say, what has happened to you? Instead of you becoming the issue, it's the issues that happened around the child. So we try to inform parents in working with kids to understand that the trauma, the drama, everything that has happened in and around that child has had these effects on this kid. And this is just the outcome of all that they have gone through.
One of the things, so it's on the mic, my mic can hear the ladies with first home care. So Lori, we were just talking about off camera that a lot of great work is done, but if nobody knows what you're doing, I don't know, it's like that thing that if the tree fell in the woods and nobody heard it. So
Right.
your job is business develop, taking your message and going out to the streets, right?
Exactly.
Let's talk about the cool things, like when you go out there, you're like, hey, and shout out to our friend Caitlin over Poplar Springs, is that's how I got this relationship with Poplar Springs and First Home Care. So talk about, when you go out there, what are things that you tell people about how great First Home Care is?
So I visit a lot of local Department of Social Services in the state of Virginia, and I'm sharing how great we are, how we train our families, how we treat our families, the children that we have with us. We are culturally competent. We make sure that the child's culture is integrated into their treatment, that they're being treated the way they feel that they want to be treated within lines with their culture. We just talked about being trauma informed. That's really important when we're working with children who have been through a lot. Entering the system, entering care is a trauma in itself and can affect the way children react to things. Let's see. We've been around for 30 years. So we have a lot of longevity here in the state of Virginia, and in the work that we've done, and the good reputation that we have for really kind of taking those kids that, really just need that extra love. We have a reputation of taking the harder to place kids, taking the ones that need that really extra love, because we take the time to train our families and to give them the support they need through case management and the other components of the First Home Care team with our parent trainers and whatnot, that we wrap our kids around, we wrap our families with all the support they need. So it's basically just really that the longevity, the culturally competent, we are CARF accredited, so we're person-centered, and then the trauma-informed. So those are some of the biggest things that I like to highlight when I'm out working with our referral sources. And then we also like to do a lot of fun things out in the community, highlighting what we do, community involvement, volunteerism, and things like that is important for us as an agency and just as a staff.
There you go. One of my Mike ESPN Richmond, 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice, 105.3 every day from 2 to 3, as well as International Business Group Radio. We have Lori and Ruth. And so Ruth, Lori had touched on that thing about culture. When did I guess the industry kind of realize cultural differences? Because I remember when you said, my mother said, boy, what's wrong with you? It wasn't that whole, they didn't take into account, a lot of feelings type, especially we're from Philly. So, shout out to Philadelphia right there.
Absolutely.
It was, boy, what is wrong with you? So when did the industry started taking into account culture?
I think geographically, the time frame has been different for each state. Yeah, absolutely. I've been here for about 21 years now, and I know that the influx that we had in Philadelphia is quite different than Richmond. So I think that understanding the cultural nuances has come from failure so much. So you learn right? By what you've instituted. And so when you know better, you do better. So we actually have, we're responsible for cultural nuances here in the agency. We make sure that our paperwork is culturally competent. With CARF, the accreditation, we have to address cultural issues here. We also understand how cultural nuances affect the children coming into care. I know when I first came down here, we had kids that were in residential here that was from Philadelphia that didn't understand why there was no sidewalks here. They wanted to have block parties, right?
Yeah,
So,
and so for folks that understand, Philadelphia is the home of the block party.
absolutely, absolutely. And so when the workers, they were like, what are these kids talking about? And of course, I was fresh just getting here and I'm telling them and they're like, can you go talk to them, right? So just understanding those cultural nuances and how it helps one to address the issues with the kids, because when you connect with them and you understand what they're talking about and understand what their needs are, they are more inclined to, sort of take that deep breath and go, all right, what you want me to do, right? So
right, and that is it, and that's very important. So we talked to you guys a couple of months ago. I always ask you ladies, like, what's happening in the streets? How are people doing out there? So Lori, you're on the business side. You can understand, like you're making the connection business to business and understanding what First Home Care has to offer. Ruth, you're on there talking to students, talking to people, talking to the administration. You're talking to kids and adults and all that. How are people doing in the streets these days?
well, I'm going to say, I think folk are absolutely doing great. I see a bigger need and willingness to, like, it's just not like, oh, it's just our agency. We're just doing this over here. We have, and with Lori's help, we have absolutely been putting on trainings for all agencies. So we're doing this connectedness out in the community now because the bigger thing is children and families. So it's not so much, my agency is better than your agency. It's about how can all of us come together and make sure that everybody has what they need to address the needs of kids and families.
Are people being more open-minded as to adoption and foster care than they were years ago or even months ago? How's the public viewing that?
Well, I think parents have always had a need, a desire to adopt. I think that the understanding of adopting privately versus publicly has changed. It is very expensive to adopt privately. And so folk were like, I just want a baby, and now we have a switch where I'd rather have somebody that can tie their shoes, and so folk are really looking at more of the need of the kids versus what's going to fit well for them. So I think that the process has really taken a big change.
Alrighty, so it's on the Mike King here. I got Lori and Ruth. Alrighty, so you guys have gotten me to come into the information session because I want to check out being a foster parent. Now we got two groups here. One, when you start talking, the eyes are like, oh Lord, I don't know if this is for us. And then you get the other ones, you see that look, and we talked about it before. You got one. They understand this is something that they want to do. So for the ones who say they want to do it, let's walk through the help that you can give me so I can be successful, because you guys have all types of help with the parent trainers and and all of the support. See, I listened.
You did. You came right back to our conversation. I heard you.
It's important because, like I said, when I got here, I used to see that sign that said even Superman had foster parents.
Right.
I never understood it until I realized what the building was.
Yes.
And then it made sense. Okay. All righty. So let's talk about, you guys have any events coming up, but it is November is, okay, wait a second. Wait, we got to go back to October is what, Kinship month? What are you guys calling it?
I know we just like to celebrate everything.
Absolutely.
So September is Kinship month,
Kinship.
where we celebrate families who basically take on another family member. Society has put on a actual, I guess you could say, a label for what families have been doing since the beginning of time, which is taking care of their family.
That is true.
So it's just a formal word called kinship care. It's about celebrating those families that, you know, have another family member in their home, taking care of them. And just to throw in another new vocabulary word is fictive kin. And those are people that we've always known who've taken others. So those are like your coaches, your mentors, your pastor, someone who's connected to a child or a family who take on another person's child or youth who are not blood relative or by marriage or whatnot. Those are the fictive kin, and they've become, with the labeling has become, there's some extra assistance and help that you are able to get and apply for from the state, from
Department of Social Services.
yeah, from social services. So you're able to get that little extra help when you are taking in another child. So because it takes a lot of responsibility and love, as Ruth can attest to take on. And so what formalizing it helps with a little bit of the assistance.
So you put a different, so, all right, so folks, this is a side note, and this is to Ruth. So my grandmother, the family had a house at Taney and Ridge in Philly. And it was a three-story house, like, you know, the three-story Philly row houses. And there are always people, they weren't family, they were just people who kind of like, they stayed for a while and then they left. In the third floor back bedroom was, no, the second floor back bedroom was this lady named Miss Thomas. And if I'm 5 years old, 8 years old, I think she seemed like she was 100, but she probably wasn't. She probably was just 80. I never knew who Miss Thomas was. She just lived there.
Right.
With my grandmother and my grandfather, and she was part of the family. People would circulate in and they'd be there for a couple months or whatever, and then they would leave. And sometimes you would see them again, sometimes you wouldn't. But that's, so what you guys have done is we put a name and a label on something that people have been doing forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am actually a product of kinship care. My mother, my biological mother, was very ill when she had me, and it's 7 of us all together. So my dad was taking care of 5 siblings when I was born. And so my aunt, which is my biological mother's sister, stepped in and took me on. And I just like never went back. So I became the princess in a home with just 1 other kid versus 7 of us.
Oh, so that's how you went to Doherty, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to the Cardinal Doherty, yes.
You know, and so, you know, it's just what we've always done. And in turn, I've raised my cousin's son. So I have had the experience on kinship care from both ends. And I do a lot of talking sometimes about, you know, kin from the middle, because everybody talks about what the grandmom steps up and does and what the auntie steps up and do, you know, but you have to understand the dynamics associated with the kid in the middle, right? Because they're, you know, do I love this person, or do I, you know, is it going to take away from my mom? So what we do here is we do trainings and we talk to parents, we talk to foster parents about helping kids, because a family member could be found at any time. You know, and that connection should absolutely be fostered. And so we let our foster parents know, you know, get that kid ready for that family, share with that family who that kid is.
Yeah, I know. We had a conversation before, but when it's time for the kid to go back, man, it's like, I ain't an expert, but it's like, I know that kind of rips a heart out.
It absolutely does. And you know, not to keep tweeting my horn, but I'm also an adoptive parent. I could not do fostering because I know myself. Once they come into my house, they belong to me.
It's a wrap.
You know? Yeah. So, but you know, we have parents. We have some great parents who really understand the concept. They understood the assignment. They come in, they take care of the kids, they get them ready to go back to families, they make connections with families. You don't know how many of our foster parents still have relationships with the families of the kids that they've cared for in their home.
All right, so really quickly, though, let's talk about, and this is something that you guys dropped on me before, when a person turns 18, they are not just kicked to the curb. let's talk about what that means, because a lot of times for people who don't know, they think, hey, when you turn in the adoption, in the foster care system, it's like, see you later.
Right. So there is support for kids past 18 to age 21. I know that there is an effort going on to get it till age 26, because we know in our own lives, we weren't ready at 18 to go on and
Got
take the
that right.
you know, and
No.
neither are our children. So therefore, there are provisions made for kids whereby they can stay under the roof of a foster parent. They can be supported. They can get funding for school. They can get the job coaching. They can get everything that they need to become productive citizens. Because at 18, nobody's ready to tackle the world.
No, that is true. All righty, ladies. So that's kinship, and now adoption is coming up which month?
November.
All right, so November. What can people look forward to with first home care coming up? Anything you guys have special going on?
You can go, Lori.
Well, we just wrapped up a whole couple months of very intensive, I don't want to say intensive, it was a lot of fun training that we offered our community partners, our referral sources, our local Department of Social Services, and foster parents and resource parents around the state. So we just wrapped up 2 trainings, one on the on mental health with NAMI. So we partnered with NAMI.
Yes.
And then we also did some training on the LGBTQ plus community, and how to be more inclusive with our vocabulary and understanding their community. So we do plan on having some more trainings in the future and just connecting with our community. We're going to be partnering with NAMI again for the NAMI Walks Virginia. It's actually in Richmond on October 8th. It's a day to celebrate and break the stigma of mental health. So that's right there in your backyard. It'll be October 8th at the Diamond.
Okay.
So that's going to be a really exciting morning of breaking the stigma of mental health. There's going to be community resources for everybody who might need some help. Those there that are living with mental health things, and then people who have been overcome and have overcome those things. So it's a really exciting day of fun and community. There's usually lots of music, activities, we walk in, and resources. So October 8th, right there in your neck of the woods in Richmond.
Well, that is good. Ruth, anything else for us before we leave?
Just to know that being Kinship Month, right? Families step up and take care of your kids. And then understand that, like Lori said earlier, Ken does not denote blood only, which is a big switch for the Department of Human Services. They are now understanding those cultural nuances. That aunt that you had, that you never could figure out how she got to be your aunt, but she was important to you. And
Yes.
she can be important to a kid that's in care that needs someone to come and provide a home for them.
On the mic with Mike King here. Ladies, I didn't know it was you guys. I didn't know. See, Lamar, he's just like, and when you see the names, I'm like going through, and all of a sudden, I'm looking at you guys going, All right, on the mic, we bring you the best and the brightest. This is very important. So the topic, adoption as well as foster care. Hopefully the mindsets are changing. You don't have to be perfect to be a foster parent.
Right.
Because Lord have mercy, even being a parent, you just look up and like, at least I survived that. I told my sons, I didn't invent this thing. I just passed it along. I just passed it. I did the best I could. That manual must have got lost in the mail because I didn't get it. So, all right, ladies, it is good. Ruth, Lori, thank you for coming on. How can, all right, so Lori, this is your ball of wax right here. How can people find First Home Care out there?
Please visit our website, firsthomecare.com. Can't get any easier than that. Visit our website, shares about becoming a foster parent, what it means to become a foster parent, and how to connect with the parent trainer near you, which in your case, in your listening area, is Richmond. And we have someone there that will walk you through the steps.
There you
And
go.
they'll be with you every minute during the process and every minute after the process.
Anytime you guys have anything going on, make sure you know where I am. The contact us,
Absolutely.
let us know. It's important what you do, and what we try and do is give you a platform. You guys are so good. This is the music that plays when you walk in through, even though it has my name on it. Hey, Ruth, I'm not sure, but I think something like that was played down at Cardinal Dockery.
Yeah, it sounded very familiar when it started.
All righty, ladies, take care. It's a pleasure as always.
All right, thank you.
Poplar Springer said hello. Thanks now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.